Good morning, everybody.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Good morning. We got a few of us here in the room, so I'm going to see if we can all get in the frame, and that my screen is being shown. Let's see here.
Can you guys see me? Hear me? Hi. Am I there? Can you hear me?
Good morning. Can you hear us?
Yeah.
Yes.
Are you all there? All
Uh,
right, great.
well,
Good morning, good afternoon, good evening. My name is Cassandra Staff, and I have Dr. Thane Kreiner, Executive Director of the Center for Science, Technology, and Society, and I have Andy Lieberman, who is the Director of New Programs of the GSBI. I was hoping this would work with all of us in one webcam, but we'll make it work. We'll turn the computer. So thanks to everyone for making time for this kickoff. We're going to take just under an hour to get you all up to speed on the 2015 GSBI Accelerator. And first, taking a look at this morning's agenda, we're going to talk a little bit about the GSBI in general and how we work within Santa Clara University and our broader mission. And then we're going to talk about some of the program specifics related to the accelerator that you're all involved in for this year. And then we'll talk a little bit about the specific deliverables for Module 1. And if we have time, we'll go into some detail on the whole cohort. So before we get started, I would just like to say that if this is your first time using GoToMeeting, just a couple tips. You can mute yourself by clicking on the green phone or microphone next to your name in the attendee list. So if you're not speaking, I would appreciate if you kept yourself muted. It'll just reduce the amount of feedback for all those listening. If you would like to talk, there is a chat window within the control panel. You can type any questions or thoughts in there, and we will be monitoring that, and we'll try to address those questions. And at the end of the presentation, we'll have plenty of time for questions and answers. So if you'd like to hold on to your questions, we'll have an opportunity to address them live at that time. So before I get started with some more information, I'd like to hand it over to Dr. Kreiner, and he will talk a little bit more about our work and a brief introduction.
Well, thank you very much, Cassandra, and welcome to all of you. It's really an honor and a privilege for us to work with social entrepreneurs like you. And our goal is to help you scale your impact and scale your ventures. And when we welcome you to the GSBI, we're really welcoming you to a family that is now over 340 social enterprises that have been through the GSBI program since the founding of GSBI in 2003 here at Santa Clara University. One of the questions you might ask is why Santa Clara University? And there are really two features of Santa Clara University that led to the genesis of the GSBI. First, and the most obvious, is that we're here in the heart of Silicon Valley, and there are a lot of experienced entrepreneurs, not necessarily social entrepreneurs, but experienced entrepreneurs. I myself have started 4 companies, 3 of which are still in business. One had a liquidity event, which I'm kind of happy about. But what we do is we don't know the answers for what's going to work in your particular business, but we have the experience of going through the entrepreneurial journey. And that's what the mentors will really be for you, is trusted advisors and coaches as you go through the curriculum of the GSBI. When you complete the program about 10 months from now, it's by no means the end of our relationship. It's actually just the beginning of a very long journey together. And that's part of the second aspect of Santa Clara that is really unique, is we're a Jesuit university, and our mission is to create a more just, humane, and sustainable world, which I anticipate resonates with the missions of most of your ventures. So there's a lot of mission alignment. Beyond GSBI, if you ever need help, you can reach out to Cassandra or Andy or me directly. We'll probably visit you in the field. I just got back from a couple weeks in Cambodia visiting social enterprises there. We also have a fellowship program with very high potential undergraduate students, and we prepare them to work on what we call action research projects to help solve particular challenges you might have, creating an operator's manual to train people in your organization. Measurement and evaluation is a big one. testing new apps, getting customer feedback, things like that. And we make sure they deliver you something that's really a consulting level report and is really quite useful. We also have links to our Frugal Innovation Lab here in the School of Engineering. So if you need a mobile app developed, for example, we can help facilitate that. You will meet, if you haven't already, John Kohler, who heads our Impact Capital program, and John works a lot with the impact investing community to help facilitate appropriate capital investments when you're ready for them in different social enterprises. So you'll have that part of the network too. So once again, I would really like to welcome you all to the GSBI Accelerator and reiterate that for us, you, the social entrepreneurs, are really what it's all about. You're at the heart of why we're here and what we do at the center and at Santa Clara University. So welcome. Cassandra?
Great. Thank you, Thane. Great, and I'll go into more detail about those programs that Thane mentioned as well as we keep going. So I'd like to first talk about GSBI, the Global Social Benefit Institute at Santa Clara University. As Thane mentioned, we've worked with over 340 social enterprises to date. We're into our 13th year now, and looking back at all those collective alumni, their impact is incredible, having a positive impact on over 110 million people worldwide, with 90% of the ventures still operating and approximately 40% scaling. We're very proud to have worked with organizations like Anuvi, Build Change, Digital Divide Data, Equal Access, Kiva, Meds and Foods for Kids, Vision Spring, and many, many more. Just so you know, our definition of social enterprise and a qualification for being part of our program is that it's a nonprofit or for-profit working to alleviate poverty somewhere in the world. So using an innovative product or service and making that accessible and affordable to people living under $2 a day. But we work with organizations of all sectors, and as you'll see towards the end of this webinar, there's a wide range of organizations within this cohort alone. So a very wonderfully diverse group of organizations. Now, for us, our vision really is to positively impact the lives of 1 billion poor by 2020. And our mission is to accelerate global innovation-based entrepreneurship and service to humanity. And we operate essentially as a nonprofit within Santa Clara University, and we fundraise all year and receive donations and grants and some earn revenue so that we can provide this program and our other training programs to social enterprises at no cost to them. And so that's why we're in this, because we really feel like innovation and entrepreneurship are a path out of poverty, and so that's what we're working towards every day. We have several different programs housed within the GSBI, all marching towards that vision and mission. GSBI Boost is our newest program, and that's for early-stage entrepreneurs to strengthen their business model and present in a compelling manner. And that's a workshop format over the course of 3 to 5 days. We have GSBI Online, which is a 6-month all-online mentor training program that is for organizations in their business model and also presented in a compelling manner. And the accelerator, which you all are participating in, is for advanced entrepreneurs to advance their investment readiness and operational excellence in order to achieve significant scale. And this is an adaptation of the program that we started running in 2003 and really is our flagship program. And all of these are running at any given time in the year. Boost, for example, last year we had 7 workshops in 6 countries. GSBI Online we run 2 times a year, and the Accelerator is our most intensive, most high-touch, most customized program, and we run that once a year. But what we do with all of our cohorts is we continuously improve using the lessons learned from the previous cohort. So by the time we finished up the last year's Accelerator, we had several case points of feedback for GSBI Online and Boost, and all of that then got iterated into revisions and upgrades for this year's Accelerator. So, we're very hopeful that this year is going to be better than ever in terms of what we deliver, in terms of high quality product and your experience. And a good investment of your time. So we see the impact model and business model really being fundamental for an organization's ability to scale. And those are two very important pillars of framework that we use for our Boost and online programs. And what the Accelerator really focuses on is building on a solid impact and business model that are very tightly integrated and building in operational excellence and investment readiness. And those four really come together for us to create a highly scalable and a highly investable organization. Now, another way to look at what we do is through the life cycle of the social enterprise. And so using Monitor's Blueprint to Scale framework, we see our programs addressing three unique stages of an entrepreneur's life cycle, with Boost being on the Blueprint stage, GSBI Online in the Validate stage, and the Accelerator on the Prepare stage. We've developed a stage assessment tool that helps us identify where social enterprises fall within this scale, and we use that. We used an adaptation of that during the interview process, and we'll be using an adaptation of that to baseline where you're starting in this program and where you're ending, so that you and your mentors and we at the GSBI can really have a better understanding of where organizations are when they come in, what we need to do to best support you throughout your journey with us, and where you end up after the program, so that we can then have a really good understanding to communicate to investors, to other people in our network, what the best both investment and other support services are for you. And persistent through all of our programs is executive mentoring and structured curriculum. And so being here within Silicon Valley, we have an incredible network of human capital that we have access to, and we have a large group of very dedicated volunteers who give us their time throughout the year for all of our programs, and they feel like donating their time and their business expertise to social entrepreneurs around the world is a great thing to be doing, and so it's a very good opportunity for us to bring some of the startup experience from people who have grown teams, funded companies, and really understand what it means to scale to people around the world who don't often have access to those same types of networks. So as Thane mentioned, we also have a support system here within Santa Clara University that provides different things to the entrepreneurs as well. So GSBI is one piece, and our sweet spot really is the business mentoring with respect to the operational excellence and investment readiness and the business and the impact model that I mentioned earlier. John Kohler, who some of you may know, who co-founded Tonic, and as a former venture capital investor, he is the head of our impact capital team, and again, he works on making sure that he works on developing financial mechanisms for impact investment. We also have an education and action research department, which trains Santa Clara University students on our methodology for social entrepreneurship development, and they also place them in the field with alumni of the GSBI. We have a GSBI network of currently, I think, about 25 worldwide partners, both universities and non-universities, who are all developing their own social enterprise training programs, and we're doing what we can to help them start up or better develop their own training programs, incubators and accelerators similar to the GSBI. The Frugal Innovation Lab is based out of the engineering school, and what they do is some technology and mobile app development for social enterprise, leveraging engineering faculty and students and helping them with some of the design process. And we also have law school here at Santa Clara University, and a program called the Entrepreneurs Law Clinic, where first and second year law students are able to provide due diligence support to alumni of GSBI as well. And all of these we'll continue to remind you about and connect you with those services as you need. So moving on to this program in particular, just to remind you, this is really where we're focused for the curriculum, is on this operational excellence and investment readiness piece. And we'll talk a little bit more about how that looks in the curriculum in a few more slides. So the thesis of the whole program really is, if an organization is operationally efficient and effective and has the wherewithal to execute on an appropriate capital, they are going to be able to further scale their impact. And what we mean by operational excellence with respect to our program is really bringing together a sustainable business and impact model, a strategic plan with financial projections, a scalable operations plan, metrics-driven strategic initiatives and KPIs, as well as a management team that's well developed. And bringing those all together really is how we see that being defined. And in practice, what that looks like is we have several content leads for each of those areas who are going to be delivering videos that will be available to you throughout the program. They're also going to be delivering in-residence sessions in August. And then we have structured curriculum where we've divided it into 8 modules and several deliverables, all with templates provided for you to really digest that information, to take the concepts that we're trying to pass on, work on it with your mentors, plug it into a template or adapt your own documents that you already have, and get that to us and your mentors so that we can really make sure that we've checked that box. You really understand what it means to have your KPIs laid out, all aligned with your strategic initiatives or not, and we can work with you, anywhere you fall in that scale. And the key outputs that we'll really be driving towards throughout the program are really making sure that we have an investment summary that we can share with potential investors, that there's a 6-minute investor deck that you're going to be able to present at our investor showcase very concisely, and that hits several points, that there's a full business plan deck that you have at the ready to bring to the more in-depth investor meetings and to present in small group discussions to really get a lot of feedback on, that you have a justifiable ask, meaning that the amount of capital that you're requesting is backed up by the operational wherewithal to execute on that ask, and that you're diligence ready, meaning when you get into a due diligence stage, that you have all of the documentation required by that investor to really pass whatever gates they have in order for you to get that funding. Now, when we talk about appropriate capital, there's a few things that we're really working on for the program. One thing that we've developed recently is an impact investor map. So we hired a consultant to help us pull together a mapping of all of the impact investors in the world, and really understanding what sectors they're targeting, what amount of capital they're deploying, what forms of capital it's in, so that we can take a very diverse cohort such as yourselves and say, okay, who is deploying capital in Latin America in the form of debt for healthcare, and really helping you hone in on those leads so that you can make sure you're understanding what they're looking for, having conversations with them, and then aligning some of the work that you're doing with the GSBI to those potential investors. We also want to make sure that you have a justifiable ask for all of those efforts, and really understanding how much capital you need this year and next year and the year after that, and so you can really hone in on that pitch. We also have a couple investors in residence. So John Kohler will be here throughout the program, and then of course in August. And we also bring in Bob Webster, who's a former COO of Grassroots Business Fund and has an incredible amount of investing experience. So they are essentially here at your access for the entire in residence, so that you can show them what you have, get feedback, or ask them their thoughts on some of the processes that you're embarking on or have been in. And then diligence ready, meaning that all of the work that we're asking you to do for the program is very well aligned with our understanding of what it means to be diligence ready and having your due diligence materials backed up. So none of the deliverables that you'll see that we ask for in the modules are purely just thought exercises. They all are rooted in either being on a due diligence checklist or being involved in some way in this equation. And then just to elaborate a little bit more on what we mean by justifiable ask, it's really knowing exactly how much you want, in what form, how you're going to deploy it, and knowing what the investor is getting in return, whether that be the impact metrics that you're measuring, or really knowing, what kind of payback they're getting and when. And so practically, this looks like a pretty large investor network that we are in relation with. We have a formal partnership with Tonic, which is another impact investing network, and we bring several entrepreneurs onto their GUST platform to feature their enterprises for investment. And what we do is we create investment summaries on your behalf using data that you give us. And we create a really nice, polished two-pager that we shop out to everyone in our network, and we give out at lots of events like StoCap and Opportunity Collaboration. And we basically take everywhere with us so that everybody that we come into contact with knows essentially the portfolio of organizations that have gone through this rigorous program with us and are investment ready. And what we also do at the end of our in-residence in August is we host an investor showcase where we invite organizations and individuals who are positioned to support you. We also live stream the event, and we set up several investor meetings for each of you during the event so that you're going to be having lots of productive conversations on August 20th of this year. Okay, so moving on. Your mentors, as we've mentioned before, they are Silicon Valley business executives. They are all volunteers. They are very much values-driven, and they have the experience to be your coach, to be an executive mentor for you. And we have our kickoff meeting with that group later tonight, and Steve White is our Mentor Network Director and a former mentor himself. And it's just really an incredible group of people that come back every year. It's grown typically through referrals and them just telling their peers, what an incredible organization GSBI is, and if they're the right type of person to get involved. But it's a very long process to onboard as a mentor. It's like all these meetings and some mentor trainings, really understanding the social entrepreneurship space. And Steve spends quite a bit of time really getting to know them and then communicating our values as an organization, what we found to be useful in mentoring. So by the time they're working with you in the accelerator, they're really, they've worked with several entrepreneurs throughout their programs in most cases. And they've already they've been around for several years with us, and they're really shown to be extremely passionate and have an incredible wealth of experience. And so every single year when we survey the entrepreneurs and ask them what the most valuable part of the program was to them, it is time and time again the mentors and the relationship that they've developed and the experience that they've been able to tap into through those mentors. So so I encourage you to do that as soon as possible. And the email introductions to your mentors will be today and tomorrow, depending on how much time I have to do those. So they'll be coming, and so I encourage you to follow up immediately with those introductions and get your phone call scheduled and your regular meeting time set up.
Have mentors worked with participants before?
Yes, so there's a question that just came in. Someone asked, have the mentors worked with participants before? And the answer is yes. So, so you have 2 mentors assigned to your organization for the entire 10 months of the GSBI. And one of those mentors typically has been mentoring for 3-4 years. And one mentor that they're paired with could be relatively new, meaning they've only been mentoring for 1 or 2 years. It's also possible that they've both been mentoring for a number of years. We've now, like I said, we're going on our 13th year, and I'd say half of the mentor pool have been mentoring for 8 years about, and then we've got maybe a quarter who've been mentoring from the beginning and a quarter who are relatively new in the last 2-3 years. So they all have a significant amount of experience combined from your mentor team working with social entrepreneurs around the world. Whether or not they've worked with your sector before or organizations in your region, that depends. But what we did was we paired them based on what you asked for from a mentor, what the mentors expressed an interest in working on, and then our own understanding of what we think you might need and what the mentors might be best positioned. So just a brief look at the timeline. So what we're doing is we're kicking off phase 1 mentoring right now, and that consists of 6 modules, which Andy will go into more detail in very shortly. And then we're going to be doing an in-residence readiness assessment in June. So we're going to be looking at the deliverables of all those 6 modules. So we, the GSBI team, are going to look at those deliverables, and we're going to make sure that we understand that you have a complete financial model, there's a validated business model, and that the entrepreneurs are engaged and committed to the program. And at that point, we're hoping we'll be able to invite all 20 of you to phase 2 mentoring, which will be June to July, and we'll have 2 more modules there. And then we'll have the in-residence, which will be August 13th through 21st here at Santa Clara University, and that consists of several days with varying formats and deliverables where we'll be focused on some very deep dives with your business plans. We'll have due diligence reviews. We'll have lots of feedback panels. We'll have lots of opportunities for you to engage more deeply with your mentors, with the GSBI staff, with the experts that we bring in, as well as with each other, and learning as much as possible from the other peers within the cohort. And of course, we have the investor showcase as well, kind of at the bookend of that towards the latter part of the in-residence that I just mentioned. And then for September through December is what we call the implementation phase, where you're really executing on the strategic initiatives and utilizing your mentors not to go through prescribed modules, but basically on whatever it is that you need to be working on during those months. And so this is a snapshot of the 8 modules that you'll be working on before you get here in August. And as I mentioned, Andy will talk more about those. So this is just a peek, and we'll come back to this. So don't forget to mark your calendars for Thursday, August 13th through Friday, August 21st. That means we'd like you to arrive on Wednesday, August 12th, and depart on Saturday, August 22nd. So please save the dates for that. Moving on to communication. So we do have a platform called GroupSite. Now this is essentially what we've set up to enable you and your mentors to communicate. If posting on forums is one way to communicate through GroupSite, you'll be able to access all of the curriculum, all of the modules, all of the templates, all of the deliverables from GroupSite. So if you're wondering, okay, there's something due soon, where do I get it? It's GroupSite. That's where we're essentially posting all important information. This particular recording that we're recording at this very moment will also be available on GroupSite. There is a tutorial on how to use GroupSite. It's not as easy as Facebook, I will say, but it's pretty easy to use. So, but you know, for those of you who would like to just get a head start, we have a tutorial available. So I'd encourage you to do that. And another form of communicating is through Skype. So phone calls are great. Skype is cheap. So we offer Skype credit. So for any of you that need to be on your phone or whatever, and someone needs to call somebody through Skype, we're happy to provide that just so that we can enable you all to communicate without you having to worry about anything like that. So I'm going to save the group side tutorial for the end if we have time, because we do have several things to go through, and I want to give time for Andy to talk as well as for questions and answers. So I'll come back to the tutorial. Before I hand it over to Andy, I just wanted to talk briefly about some of our takeaways from last year, because as I mentioned, feedback is critically important to us, and you are our customers, and we are always asking for feedback on how to make this better. And we do that asking the mentors, asking the entrepreneurs, asking everybody that comes to our events on what they thought. So last year, the entrepreneurs said that the top reasons they joined the GSBI was to develop a sustainable growth strategy for the networking opportunities to raise capital and to strengthen their business operations. For them, the program was most helpful preparing them for investors, facilitating their growth and their scale, and helping refine their growth strategy. And in terms of some of the programmatic elements, as I mentioned, the mentoring was the most important, most useful element, really having access to smart, experienced CEOs who are really committed and engaged, very proactive, and quite frankly, don't BS. The in-residence is an extremely powerful 10 days. I mean, it's incredibly invigorating and draining, and you're going to work very hard, but you're going to get so much out of it. And that really, I mean, you just, as you all know, there's nothing like being in person with people, and those 10 days, I mean, there are just an incredible grouping of people together, all really towards helping you build your business. And then the online pre-work, it does take a lot of. Sure. For 1 second, Andy is. Okay, so there's a couple people on the phone, and we're getting some background noise. So if you're on your phone, maybe you can just put yourself on mute until we have a Q&A opportunity towards the end of this presentation. I'd appreciate that. Okay, great. So moving on. 100% of the entrepreneurs, and this is true every year, by the way, would recommend the program to other entrepreneurs. They all said that it helped them talk effectively with investors, and they all said they will stay in contact with their mentors. Last year, we had 14 entrepreneurs come through. We just wrapped up the program in December, and to date, already 85% of them have received funding. And each volunteer in our program, we polled all of the volunteers, which includes the content experts, it includes the mentors, and collectively they donated 258 hours per entrepreneur, and that's only for 14 entrepreneurs. So it's an incredible amount of time and energy that people put into this program, and it's a testament to, I think, the work that you all are doing and our belief in what you're doing as well. So that does not include staff paid time or anything like that. Okay, so we're going to keep going. I'm going to hand it over to Andy, and he's going to talk more about the online pre-work. And then once he's done, we'll have an opportunity for some questions and answers. So, Andy.
Great. Thanks, Cassandra. Hello, everyone. So it's going to be great to work with you over the next 10 months. GSBI Accelerator is an exciting program, and it's always a pleasure to work with so many wonderful entrepreneurs. I've had the chance to meet many of you and know about your work. So the schedule that's on the screen is the online pre-work, and you can see that there's a layout of modules. These are basically parts of your business plan. Starting the overview, we're going to move very quickly into your fundraising strategy. We know all of you right now have some vision of how you're trying to grow your enterprise, how much funding you need, and how you would invest that money. What we want to do is understand that and then work to refine it and justify it, so that when you actually are going out and talking to investors, we think we can help you anticipate the types of questions they'll have and the types of drilling down they'll do and get you ready for that. So that's what we'll be working on through this through these different modules, and so that involves understanding your business and the impact model. It involves understanding and refining your market segments and how you're going to reach those markets, your business model and the financials and the operations. So going through all of those pieces between now and in May will, like you say, help you fine-tune what you're doing and be able to explain it and justify it in the way that investors are typically looking at it. And you'll see for each of these modules, there's a content lead there. We have a large pool of content experts, as Cassandra mentioned, and each of these areas, so while the mentors work deeply with you in your enterprise, and they're very focused on you and all aspects of your enterprise and everything they can do to help you, the content leads and other content experts like John Kohler in finance or Tracy in business areas work across multiple enterprises. So in their area of expertise. So you'll get a great support through both sets of experts. And all of this is leading up to, in this first phase, that in-residence readiness assessment, where we'll be looking to see how it's all coming together. And as Cassandra said, our hope is that all of you will be in good shape with the work you're doing, the progress that you're making, and really ready for the second phase of mentoring in the in-residence. And our goal is to work with you to get there. And one thing I'll say, I'll get into Module 1, the specifics of Module 1 in a moment, but all of these modules are to build on work you're already doing. So we know that you have some kind of marketing plan. We know you have a strategic plan. You have operations in place. You're all well-established enterprises. So what we don't want to do in this pre-work, or really any time during GSBI, is give you a lot of busy work or try to do anything that feels like a step backwards or that's not going to be useful for you. So all of these modules should be useful to your business. If at any point, and it should all build on documents and work that you already have. So if at any point during the pre-work, if you feel like busy work or that it's not something that's useful for your business, just stop, step back, talk to your mentors about it, or talk to Cassandra Reier about it, and let's figure out what we can do to make it relevant and useful. We'll give you formats for all these things. We have some formats and templates for, say, marketing strategy that we find have worked really well with other entrepreneurs. But if that's not working for you because you already have something or you come at it in a different way, then you can use your own formats. We want that actually because it's going to be more efficient for you and more useful. So, like I say, if there's any concerns or things don't feel useful, just let us know. Okay, so now I'll get into the specifics of Module 1. Okay, the specifics of Module 1. So we're going to dive right in. Each module is about 3 weeks long. And we know you're super busy people and don't have a lot of time to put into GSBI. So, but in the next 3 weeks, there are essentially 3 goals. The first is establishing a working relationship with your mentor. So that involves getting on the phone. We'll talk more about that. But we want to have a good relationship that you're going to be working together over the next 10 months. The second part is establishing a common understanding of the enterprise. So that means our mentors and our content team, we've seen the documents you've submitted. Many of us were on the interview calls with you. We understand a lot about your enterprise, but we need to know much more. We need to get to a deeper level of understanding of what you do, how it works, how you're planning on scaling. And the understanding is we want you to have an understanding of what our vision of being prepared to scale is and how we can, and how we think the work we think you need to do to get there. So that's this assessment part that we'll talk more about. And so we'll do that through 2 living documents, which is an updated business plan and the social enterprise assessment that we'll get a start on in this module and then keep refining as the program goes through. So let me just walk you through the specifics of the deliverables. When you go into the group site that Cassandra mentioned, you'll see a full page of information. And there's an overview. There's some, and there's the different deliverables listed with templates and examples. So the first one is the mentor team and communication. So very simply, get to know each other. It takes some time on a Skype call or telephone call. And the most important tip there is agree on a regular meeting time. We know there are challenges with your busy schedules, time zone differences, but if you can find a regular meeting time so that most weeks you can have that call, you get into your schedule, the mentors get into their schedule, and that's really been key for having a good relationship. So there's some more tips about that and in the group site. The second part is we want you to upload your first pass business plan. So all of you submitted some kind of business plan for the application process. If you made it into the cohort, so we liked what you had, you were able to explain it well on the interview calls. So you don't need to start fresh, but take your business plan and compare it with the criteria. There's a list of criteria for a business plan that you'll see in the group site, and see if there are parts that are missing, and you can work that into your business plan. So there might be some things that you have in other documents that you can pull in to flesh it out a bit more. If there are parts where you know you need to do some work, and that's why you signed up for GSBI, that's fine. You can just put in some placeholder slides for now. But the idea is to get something in a PowerPoint format that's consistent, that's simple, and that you can upload to the group site, and we'll keep coming back to that after each module and building out different parts of it. The key thing to remember is this is not a pitch deck. This is a substantive business plan that would be good for not a 5-minute pitch or even a 10-minute pitch. It's something that you would take to a 1-hour or 2-hour investor meeting and really work through in detail, or could even email to an investor who before having that meeting. So go ahead and so that's something that you'll be working on. And again, you only have 3 weeks for this module, so we're not expecting you to build out the parts that you don't have, but getting it together so that you can use it as a starting point and a repository for all the work you'll be doing. And there's some great examples in the site of previous entrepreneurs that have done really good work on this one. The next deliverable is this baseline assessment. So as Cassandra mentioned, we have the Blueprint to Scale life cycle for social enterprises, and GSBI Accelerator is all about preparing you to go to scale. So to be prepared to scale, we came up with a list of 32 different criteria that you'll see grouped into areas around social impact model, marketing, operations, team, and financing. And there's a very, so those criteria are laid out, and this is an assessment that you can do over essentially off the top of your head. You can go ahead and fill that out and list the initiatives that you're focusing on. So that's a good diagnostic tool for your mentors and for the content team to understand where you are and for you to think about the areas that you'll be focusing on. And the last part is background documents. If there are things that you didn't submit during your application process but have at hand, might be some annual reports, additional financials, especially videos or photos showing your enterprise in action that you can upload to group site. That will be super helpful so that the mentors and the content team can really understand your business, because it's hard for us to dive into the details of the business model if we don't have our head around, if we can't fully understand the business. So there's more details in group site. You can go ahead and get into that, and you can ask questions now during the webinar, and we can also answer them always via email or via group site forms. Perfect. So turn it back over to Cassandra.
Okay, thank you, Andy. Great. So so we have a couple more agenda items. One is quickly showing you group site, and the other is talking a little bit more about the whole cohort, so you all get to know at least a little bit about some of your peers. But before I do that, I'd like to pause and take some questions. So if you have any questions, please type them into the chat box, and Andy will ask me to answer them, or unmute yourself and ask directly. Yes, so all of the documents will be available on group site. So first, we will be posting a recording of this webinar. We'll also be sending out the slides. All of the modules are very well laid out, very easy to read, and there are templates available. All of that is very available and downloadable on group site, and I'll show you very shortly. Any questions? Well, I'll let you guys think about those while I open up group site and quickly show those, quickly show the sites. All right, so this is the group site. So today, as I mentioned, I'll send an email out, both introducing you to your mentors and also inviting you to this platform. Now, this is the main page. And what you'll see is over here on the right-hand side is a link to view the 5-minute group site tutorial on YouTube. Over here is where I will post the slides and recording from today, as well as all the subsequent videos for the modules. So there's two places you really want to focus on. One is the modules, and the other is the subgroup section. So modules is where you will find all of the information that we are offering to you. So here's module 1 with the overview and the mentor launch. So those things that Andy just talked about are available here. So here's an overview that lists key dates, contact information. Here's an overview of 1.1 and just getting to know your mentors, a very specific deliverable. 1.2 is the first pass of the business plan. We provide 3 examples of some plans that were done really well by people who have come through over the last year or 2, as well as a template for uploading your own business plan. And then 1.3, here's the SE assessment example that's filled out, and then a blank one for you and your mentors to work through. Now, where you're going to put all of your information is within your subgroup. So here is a drop-down, and you'll see in my drop-down I see everybody's because I have access to all of them. But when you hover over this subgroup navigation bar, you're going to only see yours. So Judith, I'm going to go into African Clean Energy, and it's pretty empty right now. It just has Andy's picture, my picture, Steve, and Victoria. We're all working here, and that's why we all have access to this, is because we help create the site. Now, what you'll do is within this, you have a file cabinet, and you also have an area here to start a discussion. So what you'll do is I'm going to start a discussion here, and I'm going to say Module 1. Hi, folks. Here it is. And then I can either upload directly here, or I can just say, here are my comments, here are my questions, and then I'll post it. And the mentors will then get notified because they will be subscribed to this subgroup, and they'll say, okay, Judith posted something on Module 1, I better go in and check it out, and then I'll respond, and then we'll collaborate that way. So if anyone has any issues with group site, please let me know. I'm happy to address them. But it hopefully will be an easy-to-use tool for you all to communicate effectively. Are there any questions about anything that we've covered? Okay, great. So I will very quickly try to go through a little bit about the cohort, but we're going to be sending these slides out, so I'd encourage you to just take it in at your own pace and read more about everybody and some of what we've covered. So very geographically diverse impact. We've got a big showing in Kenya and India, which is not surprising. That's also where many of our alumni are from. It's just very booming social enterprise sectors, and quite a bit of representation around Latin America and different parts of Southeast Asia. So we're excited about that, as well as some representation in the U.S. Excuse me for that. We've got about 1/3 female and 2/3 male. We've got organizations that have, by and large, been in operation from 2 to 5 years, with some who have who've been around for significantly longer. Quite a range of staff sizes, so small teams to very, very large teams. Most are hybrids within this cohort of 20. We've got about 1/3 that are for-profit and about 1/5 that are nonprofit. Again, a wide range of sectors represented, with the majority being in health and the rest being in something else. So this is the 20 organizations. I'd encourage you to read through all of these profiles so that you can get to know each other. And if you want an email introduction to anybody, please let me know and we'd be happy to do that. I'm going to spare you going through each and every one of these because I think they warrant more than 30 seconds each, which is unfortunately all we have time for. But with that said, I'm going to just stop. I'll keep cycling through these, and if you have any questions, please ask them. Again, we'll be posting a recording of this presentation very shortly. We'll be sharing the slides, and we are always available by email, and we'll be connecting you to your mentors very shortly. And tonight, we're going to be having our kickoff in-person meeting and training session with our mentors. So they're going to be onboarded very shortly as well. Any questions? Okay, I'm almost on my last slide. And we're 8 minutes early. Okay, well, I appreciate you all taking the time to get up to speed and kick off the 2015 GSBI Accelerator. On behalf of Thane.
Thank you. Welcome again. Really look forward to meeting all of you in person in August.
And Andy.
Yeah. Looking forward to working with you. Thanks for the time.
And Cassandra. Thank you so much, and we'll talk to you soon. Bye-bye.
Bye.